Now, the big question is, would you accept that the machine, and this will happen one day, will kill a human being?
Do you think the process of making a car is the same as making an art piece?
Well, a car in a way is an art. I mean, it's design and its expression. Mobility is much more than just moving your body from A to B. It's like the clothes. You need to have a shirt or a sweater to be warm, but also the clothes express your personality. Maybe you have a label on it, or you have a Gucci bag, or this. And this is all just more than its proper function. And the same is in mobility, that people like to express their personalities. For example, if I'm driving a Porsche, people will know I'm more like the sporty guy. If I drive a Mercedes, I'm more like a relaxed guy. So it's an expression of yourself, and designers, in a way, are artists to give it, besides the function, a certain form and an admiration of the label, of the branding to the public.
So when you're designing these these kind of cars, how will you brainstorm it? What is the process of when you're thinking and get inspiration?
When we start a new project, we first create a story. The story is what is like the red line, which is the guideline, you know, through the whole project. So the story has to be here first, and we say, okay, we want to tell this year the story about this and this. So that guideline we follow, and with the story, we also need to develop a design which matches the story. It would be very difficult to do a design and then put the story on top of it. So again, the story for us is always the guideline, and in our approach, it's my designer who lives in New Zealand, it's my Swiss engineer and myself who come up with the principal design ideas, because we want to reach different goals of design. It's like with a human being. When I see you first, I look at you, and the way you're designed, so to speak, the way you're dressed, that's a first impression. And there's the old saying, you never get the second chance for a good first impression. And people, everybody just judges everybody within seconds, you know, whether you like, or whether I feel you're well dressed, or you're sympathetic, or, you know, whatever. And the same happens with a car.
So is it possible if you get into a car after work, then the car will ask you, how are you today? And say something like Siri?
This is a trend people do, but I have a different opinion. You certainly own a smartphone. You
Yes.
own a computer. Yes. Do they say hello to you?
If I press Siri, they will.
Okay, if you press Siri, but normally they would not talk to you.
No, yeah.
So why should the car talk to you? If your smartphone doesn't talk to you, your pad doesn't talk to you, your notebook doesn't talk to you, your PC doesn't talk to you, why is a car all of a sudden talking to me? In my perception. I mean, I wonder why. I mean, I love it when my wife says, good morning, Frank, how are you? Did you sleep well? Because she cares. But the car really doesn't care whether I slept well, or I would not believe him. Even so, if he were asking me, did you sleep well, I would know it's a machine. Furthermore, it's an interesting question whether future cars should be humanized or should remain machines. I mean, we look at autonomous driving, and autonomous driving means trusting the vehicle you're inside, or the technology. Now, from the human perception, we trust humans. But in reality, in traffic, in mobility, we know it's a mistake, because it's all humans who produce the accidents in the streets and cause 10,000s of dead people each year in China and 1.2 million dead people in the world because of human errors. So we should not trust the man in traffic or the human. Now with the automated, I would have the tendency to say, well, I give it a nickname, you know, I put some human factors in it. That would be for my emotional side, but for my rational, I think I leave it machine, 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 because the machine doesn't distract, the machine always pays attention, so I rather leave it machine. Probably at the end of the day, I think machine, because I trust it, it's well done, but it's a perception we need to change, because so far we are not associated with machines. I mean, your smartphone probably doesn't have a nickname, but your smartphone does not govern about your life. If it doesn't work, too bad, then you know it doesn't work and you're out of communication. But if your car doesn't work, you're probably dead or you're injured because it'll produce an accident. So it's a different level of trusting or finding trust in machines.
I see. So you mean it's everybody or everything should be in their position and don't just go too further?
Because we have certain patterns in our heads. You accept that other Chinese people will kill people in traffic. The Swiss people will kill people in traffic. Americans will kill Americans in traffic. We have that widely accepted. That's basically the toll which we pay for individual mobility. Now, the big question is, would you accept that the machine, and this will happen one day, will kill a human being? Today, probably not. You expect a machine to be 100% flawless. But 100% flawless does not exist in life, as we know. There's always a rest margin of risk. So we have to manage our expectations for machines which will govern about our lives. We have it in the airplane, of course, other pilots, but we still have two pilots.
How will you react when people said your car is not feasible?
That's great, because we do not want to please everybody. Our cars have to have the function of evoking discussions, meaning that people talk about it. Some people feel it's feasible, some people feel it's far away, some people feel, well, I could have it today, you know, the whole spectrum, but that will remain within your head. If it's like a person who's just like not very normal, you don't remember. And a person who's different, you will discuss, and maybe you come home in the evening and say, oh, I've met this person very, you know, different of other people I know, and these people will remain in your head. And we would like our cars to remain in the heads of the viewers and the people who've seen it.
Yeah, I remember this one word say, people will never remember you, but they will remember how you make them feel.
Exactly. See, we are exactly at this point.
All right. So since Rinspeed has is founded for like 4 decades, so what is the future plan of it?
Very good question. Honestly, I do not know. I mean, I enjoy my work. I will work as long as I have fun. And if I don't have fun, I change the work I do, which I did also in my past in the activities. But I'm not a long-term planner. I like to drift a little bit, because what I like today or what I perceive today might change for tomorrow, which does not mean that I change my opinion every other day. I have my companies for 40 years. But to be open in your mind, to pick up new things, maybe out of our discussion, you know, something remains in my head, and then I take maybe a different course. So I just go like a flow, like a river, and we'll see where the river will take me to.
If we imagine one day on the street, because your car is too popular, so popular that everybody on the street is driving your cars, what will it look like?
I don't think the looks are so important. I think the possibilities of what I can do is important. I think it starts with the space. I don't want to be squeezed in like today in a tight automobile. I'd like to sit like now, you know, have a comfortable chair. Maybe I can recline it. Then I'd like to be able to work with a big screen, or maybe the windscreen is the screen. I would like to watch the news. relax. I'd like to have maybe a nice climate, like our latest concept car, the Oasis, has a garden within the car for greenery. It's more like, you know, a rolling living room or office or transformable, and it may be on purpose that you say, I need to go from A to B, but since I'm with colleagues, we need to work, I order a business vehicle. Or you say, no, we go to holidays, then you order a leisure vehicle, or you order a beauty vehicle because you want to use the time to do your nails, or, you know, whatever. So I think we should think out of the box. We should think much further than we think today, where we still, as I said, we are thinking much of the past, but we should cut it off and look for the future.
So you think this would be the ideal version of the future car?
This is a theory. You know, if my crystal ball would be that clear to know or to tell the future exactly, probably I would be on a big boat on the sea, enjoy life. We just try to figure out possibilities of mobility. We try to figure out who can be the major players in mobility. I think also that changes. I personally have the thesis that Alibaba will enter the mobility market. Alibaba has, what, 300-400 million customers, has a big e-commerce, and they know logistics. And imagine if Alibaba would offer mobility services. It's a huge player in the market, which has influence. I mean, like Alibaba has influence on e-commerce, you know, being one of the biggest seller now in China, to up to $2 billion US per day of orders, 15 billion RMB, which is incredibly big. So this could all change the market and the market players and on how it's being done. And I would not rule out in my thesis that Alibaba has their own fleet of vehicles, not cars, vehicles. So like in airlines, you have loyalty programs, then if you're a gold member, all, you know, your video, your whatever is for free, and if you're only a basic member, you pay for it. So I could imagine many scenarios of how mobility could be arranged or could be set up. But I'm sure we will move away from today's form of owning a vehicle, which sits around for 95% of the day, to sharing, to different models on how to use a vehicle. And it only makes sense that you can amortize it much quicker than today.
There's a website called Geekpom, and there's a hacker just hacked in a Tesla. Then he just used his iPhone to make it drive, start up, move, everything. Do you think it will influence the future of a car using remote system?
No. I mean, you can hack whatever you want. If you're a good hacker, you hack Bank of China. There's always a weak point in technology. Of course, hacking has to be taken seriously. Security has to be taken seriously. But we have to take the measurements for it not to happen. But out of 2-3 hackings, you know, we should not really blush it up more than it is. I think we will find a way to make vehicles safe, like Bank of China to be safe, and that I don't access your account. It's the same problem everywhere with IT, but you would not do any electronic banking anymore because people have been hacked and people's money has been taken away. So it's for the bank or for the mobility provider, so to speak, to increase the safety and security in mobile application of IT.